This is an iPod classic, and it is nearly 20 years old. And today, through a bunch of modifications, we are going to make it a device that is worthy of being used going into 2025. Stay with me. That's a custom iPod. Pretty cool. A considerable amount of force. Destroying the case. Okay. So bottom's out. Okay. Bam! Look at that. So what I was told is that you should not mess with these retention clips and easily break. You should just pull the cable straight out. So we're gonna try that. That was good advice. Okay. Very nice. Plastic is starting to dissolve. It's like 20 years old. Ah, nice. Okay. So that is super small, that retention clip right there. We should be able to coax it out. Nice. Okay. I want to get a little bit of this hard drive that is super sticky. Lift up the retention clip that is holding in the hard drive, or rather not the hard drive, that's holding in the headphone jack and lock assembly. So try and just pry this. This might be challenging. Let's see if I can bend this. Okay. Now the front and back are separate. So I don't actually need anything from this back panel other than a few screws, because this battery I'm not using anymore, obviously, because it's ancient, and the headphone jack assembly is new with the new backplate I have. Really tiny Phillips heads. I think that this will do it. Okay. Look at that. So we're going to need to be very mindful of these extremely small screws. And I mean extremely small. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Alright. Just like that, they're apart. Let's see if we can get this properly married together. This is going to be a tough one. Okay, bottom is in. Okay, this one. Okay. What? That's looking pretty damn good. Look at that. Oh, nice. Okay, so before we lose these screws, let me just get these right back in. Okay. Quick tip from like a PC building perspective, always do a crisscross pattern when you're putting these screws in. Don't do one side at a time because you'll never get it back together. It's so interesting when you look at the inside of this, how there's like markings on the different chips from like a pen, seemingly. This is just stuff that would never happen on modern Apple devices, but really cool to see. All right, so now that we have the front panel and PCB all set, we're going to move on to the back of the chassis. So we have to put in the headphone jack, and I'm gonna have to take some screws from the front panel. So that's gonna be my first job here. And the last one is right here. This would be the hardest. But I'm gonna go get it. Oh, these are so easy to work on. It's nothing like modern devices. So it looks like that top screw is a little bit bigger than the others, so I'll keep that in mind. That'll work. Nice. Okay. Okay, so now that's popped in flush. It actually amazes me how well this was machined. That fits so well. So the only thing so far that worries me about this is this. Let's see if I can center this. This rocker seems like it's like the teeth there are barely grabbing onto that switch. And that would be a nightmare if that was like stuck in the locked position. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that unlocked all the time. So we've got the back done, we've got front done. Last thing that we need to do is the hard drive. So this is, and I guess the battery after. So this is one of the coolest upgrades that you can actually do to this device, because we can actually now put flash storage in this instead of this really ancient spinning drive. So I'm going to tear that seal, which says I'm now agreeing to the terms and conditions. That's okay, this was like $10. This is super, super impressively machined. I'm absolutely amazed by this. So first thing we have to do is put our SD card, solid state storage in this, and then we get a scissor. Okay. Make sure that is in the unlocked position. Very important. So the storage of this is going up from 30 gigs to 128 gigs, which is pretty good. I could have gone up to like a terabyte, but it doesn't seem worth it. So, all right. So we're going to slide the SD card in like so. And you should get that. Okay, nice click. It's always a good idea to put something behind this to make sure it stays captive and doesn't slide out. So that's what I'm going to do right now. That is super sticky. Okay. Okay. Now that SD card is going nowhere. Okay, I'm just gonna hope that that is in. Find a way to get this to not slide around. I think some like double sided tape might do it. Scotch tape. So this is a very jank solution, but I think it will give us the desired result. I'm also going to use this to secure down some of these leads. I'm aware this is jank, but it will at least stop it from moving around. Yeah, it works. Very good. Okay. Alright, let's see if we get this battery in here. Okay. Actually wasn't too bad. Alright, so now, for all intents and purposes, the iPod is reassembled. Everything's connected, and it theoretically should power on, which is what we should test before we before we close this up. Okay. Saying to connect to the computer to restore, that's what we want to see, so let's put this thing back together. I think we're good to close this thing up. It's much lighter than it used to be. Okay. Let's see if we can get this closed. Continue to make sure it still works. So we'll apply pressure. Okay. That's a custom iPod. Very cool. Not bothered nearly as much as I thought it'd be by the missing bracket down there. Definitely not a big deal. And just like that, we took all those pieces and made it into a new hole.
So now the final step is installing a more modern custom operating system. To do this, go to the Rockbox website and download the installer. Also make sure to grab the latest dev build, which will contain the most recent checksum for the software. Do not use the stable build 3.15, that was from like 2017 and will crash constantly. After I grabbed the dev build, everything worked great. Finally, there are tons of really clean user interfaces that you can download, which really make the device look so much more modern. And here's an example of the Fresh OS. It looks so clean and really brings a lot more functionality to the device that was much more restricted years ago. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. See ya.